latest college football playoff rankings were released yesterday. Georgia came in at number 2. Ohio State jumped Alabama, or Georgia was number 1, pardon. Ohio State jumped Alabama at number 2. Alabama, the Crimson Tide, fell to number 3. It was the first time ever that Alabama, following a win, dropped a playoff spot. And in number 4 came in Cincinnati. For the first time ever, the first time ever in the 8-year history of the college football playoff rankings, a non-Power 5 team was ranked in the top 4, managed to be in the college football playoff as of this moment. Just on the outside, Michigan at number 5. Number 6 is Notre Dame. Oklahoma State is at number 7. So there are a couple interesting things here. Let's start with the obvious, because, by the way, Cincinnati is just one of 3 undefeated FBS teams in college football right now. Let's start with the obvious. Congrats to Cincinnati. Major moment for them and their program, and it's deserving to be recognized for the year that they're having and the year that they've had up until this point. The fact that they're in, as of now, the position that they're in, they are beautifully positioned right now to maintain a college football playoff spot, because the committee gifted them something else. The committee gifted them Houston, who they put up in the rankings at number 24, now giving them an opportunity to play another ranked opponent. So that's a major sign and signal from the committee saying, hey, listen, we want to give you a chance to make the college football playoff. But obviously it all relied on, and it was all contingent on how they viewed Notre Dame. And the fact that they have Notre Dame so highly ranked at number 6 is only going to strengthen their resume even more. So for Cincinnati, this was a key for them to see Notre Dame ranked number 6 and to see Houston, who they will most likely face in the AAC championship game in 2 weeks from now. The fact that they finally crept into the top 25 is a major benefit for them. They need another highly ranked win. So that's for Cincinnati. Here's the other thing. So Ohio State obviously just jumped Alabama for the number 2 spot in the college football playoff rankings because of their demolition job against Michigan State, who was ranked number 7 at the time. They led 49-0 at the half, 56-7 total. We obviously saw in 2014, they beat Wisconsin 66-0 in the Big Ten championship game when they were the 6th seed. And it was such a big sign that they bumped out TCU and elevated Ohio State into the number 4 spot. They went on to win the national title that year. So, and again, this was the first time ever that Alabama in the college football playoff era and just the history of Alabama has ever been knocked a spot after a win. Now, they've obviously had narrow wins over the last couple of weeks against LSU and against Arkansas last week. But here's the interesting thing that's going to go unnoticed. The committee obviously loves Alabama. They're the reigning national champions, but they did something that is going to go over the head of most average fans, and that was Ole Miss. The fact that Ole Miss is now ranked number 9, because Baylor is 8, Ole Miss is 9, and Oklahoma's 10. The fact that they put Ole Miss in the top 10 perhaps could be a little foreshadowing going forward, because this is an opportunity for the committee. If Alabama ends up losing to Georgia on a last-second field goal, well, now you can look at Alabama and say, well, yes, they lost to Georgia, number one overall team, but Texas A&M is ranked number 15 right now in our rankings and could move up after next weekend if they win, or this weekend. But Alabama did beat a top 10 team in Ole Miss, because that's where they have them ranked. They can say, Ole Miss, top 10 team. Crimson Tide had beaten a ranked Miami, a ranked Florida, a ranked Mississippi State team. Arkansas, the fact that they're still in at number 25, that gives Alabama one more ranked opponent. So the committee thinks they're operating a little bit slyly here. We see what's going on. The fact that Ole Miss you have at number 9, That's an insurance plan in the event that perhaps if Alabama were to lose to Georgia, you could try and justify perhaps keeping them at the number 4 spot in front of a Notre Dame or in front of a Oklahoma State, because the winner of Michigan, and Ohio State, the winner is going to be in the playoff, and the loser is going to be out. You're not going to have two lost teams in there. And then in the Big 12, now all of a sudden the Big 12's got a chance. Oklahoma State at number 7, they face Oklahoma number 10. Well, both of those teams only have 1 loss. So Baylor with 2 losses, they're not going to get into the playoff, not anymore. But the winner of this game, I don't know if it's in Bedlam or in Stillwater, but the reality is the winner of that game is going to be in the driver's seat, because all they need to do is wait for perhaps a Cincinnati to lose, an Ohio State to beat Michigan, then lose to Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game, or perhaps an Alabama to lose to Georgia in a larger fashion. Well, now all of a sudden, because Oregon lost, that opens the door potentially for Oklahoma State or Oklahoma to creep in. So it's interesting. But I will say that the committee thinks they're slick by throwing in Ole Miss at number 9, because this is an opportunity to defend Alabama, worst case, if they were to lose to Georgia. This is an opportunity to fall back on something, to be able to grab some excuse to keep them in. So interesting this weekend. Major implications in the rivalry week in college football.